And yet another attack on our free speech and our ability to receive information that is critical of Trump. Trump has announced that he plans on approving a deal in which David Ellison and Mark Andreessen, among others, will buy 50% of TikTok. This will mean that TikTok will be in the hands of his billionaire buddies. Yet another way of controlling the information we receive as American public. Of course, this is happening in context of the firing of Jimmy Kimmel and also with Pam Bondi going online saying she plans on criminally prosecuting hate speech, despite the fact that that is constitutionally protected speech. My name is Dina Dahl with the MeidasTouch Network. Let's break this down. Now, in terms of the TikTok deal, as we know, Congress last year passed a bill saying that TikTok had to basically divest from ByteDance, its Chinese owner. This was upheld by the Supreme Court. We know, unfortunately, that Meta, Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg spent millions trying to lobby Congress to pass that bill. The Heritage Foundation also spent millions, and American for Prosperity, the Koch brothers, spent millions trying to get that bill passed. It was passed. The Supreme Court took the case, did not even have a lower court go through the evidence. They did have oral arguments, but nothing at trial. And so they basically took Congress's word for it that there was a security risk, although there had never actually been any evidence of a security risk. Well, here we are today. Trump in office with the ability to do as he wants with TikTok, which he is doing. Now, David Ellison, as we know, was briefly the richest man in the world last week. He is the 40% owner of Oracle, very much aligned with Trump. He infamously was on a phone call in 2020 trying to help figure out what to do about the quote stolen election. This is the person who is behind the Oracle investment of TikTok. TikTok, as we know, has 170 million American users, is a primary source of information for many young people and frankly, a lot of Americans as people, leave broadcast news and cable news and go to these social media sites. In addition, we know what is happening to Larry Ellison's son, David Ellison. Now, David Ellison is 42 years old, so he will be around much longer. His father is in his 80s. He is behind Skydance. As we know, this had to do with the Paramount merger, which now he also controls CBS News, and they had, paid, right? CBS paid all that money around the 60 Minutes is around the 60 Minutes segment because Trump didn't like it. Well, CBS News have spoken out and said that they feel as if he lied to them because he said basically that he was going to, keep all of their journalistic ethics and care for all that. But it turns out instead he may be putting Barry Weiss in charge of CBS News. She is the right-wing anti-woke founder of the Free Press. And in addition, he put in charge Kenneth Weinstein, a former Trump appointee and conservative think tank leader in charge of rooting out what he says are complaints of bias at CBS. This is what we have seen in real time about what is happening with Ellison's fortune with the current news. So it is very reasonable to think that they are planning on bringing this type of censorship to TikTok. And in addition, it's not just Oracle that is going to be one of the major buyers of TikTok, but it's also going to be the private equity firm founded by Mark Andreessen. Now, Mark Andreessen said that he did used to be a Democratic donor at one point, but he's heavily Trump loyalist. After the November 2024 election, he said he spent 50% of his time at Mar-a-Lago helping with the transition. He even bragged that while Elon Musk was at Doge and setting up Doge, he was, quote, an unpaid intern of Doge because he was spending so much time there. The Washington Post in July was able to get comments in a WhatsApp group about what Mark Andreessen was saying in private This is what he was saying, this anti-college perspective. We have seen this with Trump, right? Going after several colleges, trying to use the argument of saying, anti-DEI or anti-Semitism. But we saw what just happened with the Charlie Kirk shooter, how evidently his one semester of college radicalized him, according to MAGAs and Republicans online. This is an attack on our universities. Make no mistake, because they see our universities, because of the critical thinking and education they get there, as a producer, I guess, let's say, of Democratic voters. And so that is why they're attacking them. This is what Andreessen, who is now going to be one of the owners of TikTok, who controls what young people see based on their algorithm, is what he's thinking about young people. These colleges, of course, have young people as students. He said, quote, "I view Stanford and MIT as mainly political lobbying operations fighting American innovation at this point. Our leading institutions," and this is what he's saying behind closed doors about them in July. He also says, quote, "They need to pay the price for promoting diversity and allegedly discriminating against supporters of President Donald Trump." I really enjoyed the OneSkin range of products. They have this great facial moisturizer that I use under my makeup before I do my videos. It is just the right consistency and amount of moisturizer. And then they have this hair serum, which is just great to keep my hair healthy. And they have a derma roller. So that way you can, when you use it, it penetrates your scalp even more. I've been a big fan of derma rollers for years. They're like a great tool for skincare in general. Known for cult favorites like OS1 Body, OS1 Face, and OS1 Eye, OneSkin stands out for their science-first approach, delivering hydration, barrier support, and powerful longevity benefits in a single step. Editors have named OneSkin a brand to watch, with recognition from Fast Company, Mind Body Green, Town & Country, and The Today Show. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company, targeting cellular aging to keep your skin and scalp looking and acting younger for longer. For a limited time, you can try OneSkin with 15% off using code MISTRIAL at oneskin.co. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code MISTRIAL. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you found them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Try OneSkin today. Your future self will thank you. He says basically that he thinks the reason why Trump supporters are not getting into these elite schools is because of diversity. So this is the person who may be able to control what a young person sees, and his clear attacks on these academic institutions that produce many of the young people and their views. And let's just take aside one moment to talk about his point that somehow diversity is keeping the children of Trump supporters out, because that's what he says, the children of Trump supporters out. Based on the lawsuit against Harvard that was brought, that went all the way up to the Supreme Court, that declared affirmative action unconstitutional. It was Asian Americans that brought this lawsuit. It's Asian Americans who say that their place is being taken by also white students, because Asian Americans tend to outperform academically. And yet when a school wants diversity of backgrounds and beliefs and opinions, they may not have gotten all the slots that they could have gotten. In fact, in that lawsuit, Harvard lawsuit, it said that the easiest slot, the easiest background for somebody to get into was an white Appalachian. Somebody from white Appalachia had the best chance of getting into Harvard because it was so rare for somebody from there to have the qualifications to get into Harvard. Because make no mistake, regardless of whatever diversity, opinions, backgrounds these universities care about and want, they don't lower their standards. They have plenty of students from all backgrounds have the equal standards. They just want robust discussions in their classrooms. So this is the viewpoints. This is the attacks on our free speech that Trump is giving his billionaire friends the ability to control TikTok. And of course, as we know, with Jimmy Kimmel, there also it's about money and power because Nexstar, which was the largest ABC TV affiliate, was the one who told ABC they planned on preempting Jimmy Kimmel indefinitely. And that was after the FCC chair went on and said he didn't like what Jimmy Kimmel said in his monologue, which was a very innocuous statement about MAGA, the MAGA gang, as he called it, politicizing the death of Charlie Kirk. So Nexstar Media just entered into an acquisition agreement a few short weeks ago to acquire Tegna Media for $6.2 billion. And yes, you guessed it, they need the approval of the FCC chair to approve that merger. This is what we have seen over and over again. It is what we saw with David Ellison and the Skydance trying to purchase CBS and Paramount. And also, he plans on purchasing Warner Brothers, which also owns HBO. So David Ellison will be able to control so much of our information, whether or not it's CBS, Paramount, Warner Brothers, HBO, if that goes through, as well as this large social media. And if this happens, then we will have TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and X, all in the hands of Trump's oligarch buddies.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.